Tanner stares at the bakery items with a perverse look in his eyes. His hand unconsciously moves towards a freshly baked brownie, but he has to swat it away in order to regain his composure. He's been on a 7-day fast to lose that last bit of fat covering his abs, and his mind has begun to break down from the psychological strain. In his deluded state, he thought it would be a good idea to go on a walk at his local grocery store to burn some calories. But now he's been coming more and more often, and the guests are beginning to get creeped out as he never buys anything but instead just stares methodically at the baked goods section. And his mouth is uncontrollably watering as the saliva drips down his chin as if you're about to... My biggest insecurity of all time used to be having man boobs. It was so utterly emasculating and it made me hate how I looked. And so I started my first diet when I was just 8 years old because I thought that, I was just too fat, and so if I lost some weight, it would correct the issue. And so I would go on these very extreme diets. Most of the time it would be like 1800 calorie diets, and because it was so extreme, once I took my foot off the gas, I would inevitably end up gaining the weight back. And so basically what happened is I fell into this trap of yo-yo dieting. I just wanted to be able to stay at a healthy weight while I was eating a decent amount of food, but more than anything, I wanted to, improve my body composition so that I could get rid of my bitch tits. So I'd heard that the keto diet was like this close-kept secret that allowed you to lose weight while eating as much food as you wanted. So I tried it out for an entire year, and it definitely worked, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It was just so restrictive. I miss eating sweet potatoes and dark chocolate, and I noticed that my gym performance had actually decreased as well. I was extremely frustrated because I was doing everything right. I was working out 3 days per week. At the time I was doing full body workouts, but the workouts were extremely intense. I was training to failure every single workout. I was biking 50 miles per week, eating only 1800 calories, and on top of that, I was eating a ketogenic diet. And so it just didn't seem fair that, in order to remain at a healthy weight, I had to eat such a little amount of food for someone who's like 6'2", weighed probably around like 180 pounds at the time. And, I was just fed up. I didn't know where to go from there. I knew that I didn't want to live the rest of my life as a fat fuck. And, that's when I started talking to Goggins. Goggins is no stranger to conquering obstacles. In fact, he lives for it. He loves the rush he gets when he's done what everyone else said was impossible. So when he set the goal for himself to climb Mount Everest in a single day, people predictably thought he was insane. It takes the average person 2 months, and you want to do it barefooted with no shirt, the normers would say to him. But all he could do was laugh. He wanted them to tell him that he couldn't do it, because it would only make victory all that much sweeter when he conquered yet another impossible feat. But halfway up the mountain and right on schedule, he began feeling faint. The air was thin and he was starting to get a headache. He tried pushing on, but after a few minutes, his vision began to blur. He realized that he had ascended too fast for his body to adequately adapt, and that if he wanted to make the time, he would actually need to backtrack a bit and wait until his body caught up with him, so that he could be the first person in history to make the climb in a fraction of the normal time. So this got me thinking, how can I take 1 step backwards in order to take 2 steps forward? And is it possible to progressively overload my metabolism? If you can add more muscle mass by progressively increasing the amount of weight, reps, and sets over time, shouldn't I be able to progressively overload my metabolism by slowly adding in calories in order to train my body to burn more calories? And this is when I came across something called reverse dieting. I realized that the body is not just some mechanical machine operating in a rigid and predetermined fashion, but instead it's actually a living organism made up of trillions of cells that adapt to the environment that they live in. And so if I wanted to speed up my metabolism, I just needed to slowly add in more calories over time to train my body to burn more energy. Just like I would add in more reps, sets, and weights over time to build more muscle mass. So if you're like me and you've been dieting for years, you might think, wait a minute, I have to add in more calories? Like, are you fucking insane? But once I, made the commitment to start eating more food instead of trying to eat less and less and less food, and add more exercise on top of that, more cardio, more lifting sessions. Once I made the commitment to just, start adding in a few hundred calories every now and then, what I found was that not only did, I lose a bit of fat, but also gained some muscle mass, and in the process, I began to feel way better because my body's not constantly in a malnourished state.
I just made the holy mackerel of fucking nachos. On the first level, it's cheddar. On the second level, fuck. It's mozzarella on the second level.
And so now I've gotten to the point where I literally have to eat so much food that a lot of times I don't even want to finish my plate. It's kind of like I'm fucking disgusted by how much I have to eat. But the greatest benefit of all has really just been the positive effect that eating more food has had on my mental health. I used to be super obsessed about counting calories and demonizing certain foods, and it got to the point where I'd kind of like fantasize about, a nice, tight, warm, juicy burger, among other foods, as much as most men would fantasize about sex. But now, since I've been able to eat pretty much anything I want while staying lean, those same foods that I secretly desired the most while demonizing don't really have any control over me. Alright guys, so I hope you liked that video. Drop a like, a comment, subscribe, and if you want to take your health and wellness to the next level, check out some of the free guides that I have down below in the description. And as always, keep dreaming while you're awake. Peace.
You ever wonder what it feels like when dreams bleed into real life? Seeing scenes from TV get realized. Palm trees, a soft breeze, and chilled ice till tides wash away our problems in the spilled wine.